All right. So I talked about big box mods, the bullshit belief that they're dangerous or in some way not a fun vape and only for crazy people. I talked about the quest for vape, a little bit of discussion on the addiction of nicotine, basic hygiene. I'm getting shit off my chest. This is stuff that's come up in the last couple of weeks on this journey to the quest for vape. And I don't think I talked enough about why vapors should learn how to build their own, do their own builds. Don't let anybody, as a general habit, don't let other people build for you. I enjoy building. It's fun for me. I'm a tinkery kind of guy. Not everybody's like that, but still, if you're a mountain bike rider, maybe you don't do your own tune-ups, but at least you know how your equipment functions, because when you're out there on the trail, you got to be able to know how to change your own tire. You know, you got to have a way, if you're in the middle of a bike riding trail, and whether you're a mountain biker or not, this is just a good analogy. You're in the middle of the woods and you get a flat. You have to know how to fix that flat. You don't have to, but then your ass is fucking walking out of the trail, and that's going to take hours. So even if you don't like changing flat tires, you can't call AAA out there in the middle of the woods. So when you're vaping, I see it as the same thing. Know how to build your own coils. This way you know what went into them, and this way if they malfunction or something goes wrong, you know how, what, when, where, why, all that shit. Because there's not always somebody around to call and say, what the hell's going on? What do you think this is? There's no AAA for vaping. If the guy screwed up building your coils and you get home and then it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, the shop is closed. Now what are you going to do till tomorrow? You go in the shop after work at 6:30 and it's very busy and the counter is 4 deep with people and you want a build done, you're not going to get a build done. Why? Because they got people that they're showing Kanger EVODs to who are smokers, need to get off smoking. And I'm sorry, but your fucking ass is not a high priority when it comes to doing business. You're already a vapor. So if you're sitting there getting offended because your regular guy isn't taking the time with you, you're being selfish. They have a shop to run, they have a business to conclude, they have rent to pay, and they have employees to pay. And they have other customers besides you. So if you're watching this and you're getting mad, I'm probably talking to you. If you're watching this and you're chuckling, and you're a vapor who's hung out around enough shops to know that this is par for the course. When you took your car in for an oil change, they didn't just like move people out of the garage and move your car right in so you could be the first in line, did they? A very good, busy auto body place or car repair place, you have to call ahead and make an appointment. Now, if it's an emergency and you break down and they tow your car there, they're going to tell you, hey, listen, it's probably going to be not for a couple hours before we can get the car even on the lift and see what's up with it. It's probably not going to be for a couple of days until we fix it. You got no choice. Where are you going to find a car mechanic and push your car to that can handle you right now, today, this second? It's not a grocery store. Look, if you go in and you want, I want that, I want that, I want that, thank you very much, they'll ring you up, that's a sale. If you go in and, you know, I just don't understand why it's not vaping right. Sorry, but probably during the middle of the day when there's no other customers, they'll have that conversation with you. But if you're there in the height of the day, the busiest time, you're not going to have that conversation with the guys behind the counter. They're not being insulting to you. They're not being rude to you. There's a lot of other, stop being so fucking selfish. There's a lot of other people there besides you. And if you should happen to be over there demanding their time and attention to do a build for you, it's very simple. You leave your stuff there, put a tag on it, you come back later in the week and you pick it up, or you invest time and attention to buying a toolkit, and you get stuff, and you get some wire, you get some screwdrivers, you get a coil jig, you get a home reader, you get some cotton, and you wick your own fucking stuff. Build your own coils. Sorry if you don't like the way I'm talking to you, but aren't you an adult? Yes, you are. If you're vaping legally, I'm not talking to children over here. If you're legally vaping, you are an adult. And you can be spoken to like an adult. And you can accept some obvious truths, like a grown-up. The vape shop doesn't always have the time to handle your build, so you can build yourself, or you can leave it there, or you can find somebody else to do it for you. And don't be mad at the vape shop, because their job isn't to fucking pamper you in your vaping experience. So you may feel abandoned because you went in and while you were making your first sale or buying your first thing, they took a lot of time with you. Okay, but now it's time for you to grow up. Okay? Like everything else in your life. They can't coddle you forever. Learn how to build your own stuff. It's not very difficult. Want me to show you how to do a build? Fine, I'll show you how to do a build. Let me just find an empty RDA and I'll do a build for you, okay? From scratch, let's see how quickly this can get done. What do I have here that's empty? Or could very quickly be empty? Competition Doge. This is the quick build. Home reader. It's also good as a stand. Yeah, this one needed to be rebuilt. I didn't like that build anyway. Say goodbye to these perfectly good coils, because they're gone. Done. That's out. Paper towels are always very handy. Catch the garbage. Okay, so you're still watching this video. Hopefully you can see this here. I know it's not a close-up, but you'll at least be able to see a real live quick build going on, and I do this all the time. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to talk. I come across a lot of folks in vape shops. You know, thank you for not smoking, thank you for being a vapor, that's all wonderful and well and good, but, you know, there was also, nobody maybe explained this to you, there's a beyond. There's a beyond that. And then what? Alright, 24 gauge can full. You know what? I'll use, fuck it, I have a lot of 24 gauge, I'm going to use my 24 gauge. Normally I would go 22 or even 20 for some low sub-ohm, but currently I'm on a kick with these big boxes and I like to put a little resistance back on there. Anyway, there was a beyond, there was a next step, there was a, okay, now that I'm dripping, then what? That's great. Congratulations, you found your way to a very enjoyable part of vaping, which is dripping, And with that then comes the ability to build. Get yourself a good coil jig. Alright, there's a few different methods of coil jig. You could use a screwdriver, you could use one of these things. Screwdriver is very simple and easy to use as well. You just wrap coils around that. Just make sure that whatever you do on one, you do on the other, the same amount of wraps. Alright. Use the same screwdriver to wrap both coils. I myself prefer the Coil Master coil jig because it makes absolutely perfect coils every time and I don't have to think about it. But that's just me. Alright. It's going to be a very simple, easy build. Nothing fancy about it. I'm doing 6 wraps of 24 gauge Canthil. Okay, you ready? Piece number 1, piece number 2. This goes right through the hole. My leg doesn't need to be any longer than that, just enough to pinch it, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know what? 7, 8. That's fine. I did mention that I'm trying to put more resistance back on because I like to go a little bit bigger on the and higher on the wattage. But anyway, that's 8. See how nice that coil came out? I hope that is able to focus. This Coil Master is like the most genius thing ever. Put the wire through, pinch it down. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Was that very difficult? No, it was not. And there's a second coil. So now I have 2 perfectly identical coils. There's nothing I needed to ask the guys at the vape shop to do for me right there. Do you think you can do that? I think you can do that. I don't care how much butterfingers you think you are. Anybody can do what I just did. Straighten out these leads. Did I pull out a blowtorch? No. I didn't do anything fancy. This is highly duplicatable, and if it's really that difficult for you to do that, I mean, then just go to the fucking vape shop in the middle of the afternoon when nobody else is around and they probably have time to do that for you. Or ask them, hey, when's the best day, when's the best time when I can come in for that. But anyway, that's the coils. So you just stick them right in there on the posts. Alright, I like to use the straight lead that comes right off the coil, not the one that was bent that I straightened back, and just go, boom, right through. It's very easy. Get it in position, space it halfway between the post and the outside of the RDA. Get it in position, lock down the negative. Negative is the one on the outside that's not sharing a hole. There you go. I lock down the negative. I like 24 gauge Canthil because you can tighten it down a bit without worrying about snapping and guillotining the lead. 26 gauge, 28 gauge, anything thinner than 24, and I usually snap it when I'm tightening it down. So anyway, look, there's nothing very difficult about this at all. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's good enough to vape on. You can figure out your nuances in time along the way, but you know, this is not hard. Okay, I'm not talking about fancy builds, parallel coils, quad coils. I'm not talking about anything sophisticated like that. Just a couple of simple dual coils lock down, get it in place, lock down the negative. You know when it's tight enough, that wire starts to turn up. The screw pushes down, the wire on the outside, the leg pulls up. Good. Good. Okay, they're both in place. Now watch this. I get them both right around where I want them to be. Okay, equidistant from that center post, which is the positive, meaning the center post is here and the two coils are equidistant. They're not jammed up against it, they're kind of like that. I've already locked down the negative, so it's just the positive sharing that one hole. One going this way, one going that way. Now that they're there, okay, if you really want to get fancy, leave the screwdriver or the post or whatever you wrap the coil around in, and then now if you have a few things the same size, you can go ahead and slide them in place just to hold it. But they should stay pretty well on their own anyway. And you just tighten down the center post, which is the positive. Okay. None of this needs to be so terribly difficult or so terribly hard that you can't do it. All right? There you go. I'm going to show you a close-up in a second. Just pull these wires out of the way. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I've done this a million times, but it really was not that difficult. I watched videos. My vape shop guy showed me the first time. They built one side, I built the other side. That was it. I never needed anybody to build for me ever again after that. Clip off the negative, clip off the extra ends, tuck any stragglers up against the post so they're not interfering or jammed up against anybody else. What's my resistance on this build?